mobile only. That's the way I live now. Quality isn't as good. There are times when I wish I had a landline, but I'm not going back, right? And my wife might tell you a different story. Don't get panicked by this. This is just me. I've already paid for it and I want to use the stuff and I still can't work it down. I think after 8 months I'm down to 22,500 rollover minutes or something like that. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? I'm never going to run out of voice minutes. If I have to call Israel, don't want to do it on my mobile. You know, God bless you for getting the rates you get for mobile termination in Europe. But then I go to Jaja or Skype or any number of other alternatives. I actually also have clients loaded on my mobiles that sense when I'm dialing a 44 number, it knows it's UK. You don't want to use T-Mobile or AT&T, you want to use me, and I do, right? So there are ways to get around the sort of cost of calling even in international markets. But this is an issue for which we don't have the answer yet. We don't really know how widespread mobile substitution is going to be. I'll give you an anecdotal case though. My high school kids, the 3 boys, literally lived since junior high school through, they're all in college now, without a landline. Their mother said, we all have mobiles. Why do we need a landline? She cut it off. So they grew up in a household, didn't have a landline. They all have mobiles. My daughter's a hedge fund attorney in Manhattan. Makes a lot of money, so money's not the issue. If she wants it, she'll buy it. She has not yet bought wireline service in her life. And I asked her, I said, I'm going to give this speech. I just want to double check. Have you bought a landline? She said, no, Dad. I said, are you thinking about it? She says, no, Dad. She's got a BlackBerry. She's got broadband. Always has broadband. Here's the key, right? Always has broadband. Always has cable TV or some functional substitute. Always has 2 mobiles. One personal, one provided by the firm. That's it. And she's happy as a clam, right? So if other people my daughter's age, and again, capacity is not the issue. She's got the money. She just doesn't feel the product's relevant. If a lot of those people become our customers and you and I all die, right, they're going to be all buyers. And you've heard me say this before. You need to watch your children's usage because that's the future of the entire market. Now, again, mobility is a really big deal. As a landline guy, I'm a little worried by the fact that I can live mobile only and it doesn't bother me. Right? So those of you who have mobile assets, you're fine. Those of you who do not need to figure out where you fit in the value chain that includes mobile, because if I had to guess now, I'd say this is a greater and greater part of the global revenue stream forever. This is why you're hearing people talk about any device, anywhere, anytime. Right? We have to accommodate to a world which is increasingly mobile, or we die. The other thing is long-term evolution, which is the mobile 4G platform. Look at the target for bandwidth, a gig. I'm talking about a gig to my handset. Now, if I've got a gig to my handset, there are other kinds of substitution that are conceivable, right? Including my broadband connection. Now, there's always going to be some amount of contention and that sort of thing. There are always going to be coverage issues that we have to deal with. But if you seriously have got people like Verizon and AT&T talking about a mobile network delivering 1 gigabits to a mobile device, that will always be in my pocket because I always have 2 mobiles in my pocket. Then you start questioning, okay, Fios, DSL. How valuable are those things? We haven't seen that kind of substitution yet, but believe me, we will start to see some people begin to substitute their mobile for their other connections. Now you're thinking, well, you're still using PCs, right? Even college students using PCs. Sure, I'll just take the mobile device, use a USB port or whichever port we happen to be using at that point, plug it in, and now I've got my gig. Right? It's a very, very destabilizing kind of thing. Again, scary. I have no doubt we'll get around this, but this is an issue that keeps people awake at night. Now, open networks over the top. This is another issue which is really disruptive to your business model. The important thing to keep in mind is if you are somebody who's offering a triple play service, you are already 1/3 of the way to becoming a dumb pipe. And this is another discussion. I don't have a problem with dumb pipe. It's a very essential service. But if you think about it, if you're offering voice, it's a managed service. You control it. It's a walled garden. If you're offering video services, again, it's a managed service. It's closed. You own it. It's a good margin business. The third pipe you tend to base everything else on is the broadband pipe. By definition, it's open. All right, so if you look at a triple play provider, 1/3 of the services, and in fact, the foundation service that keeps me alive forever, is now a dumb pipe. There's nothing wrong with dumb pipe. I'm not being negative about it, but it does pose really serious business model issues. Now, the other thing that's really important, and it's probably most relevant for people who deal in the enterprise and the SME markets at the moment, is that back in the old days, we had a really nice, clean way of building our networks. We build them down to termination, right? We hit a box, wiring closet, and then the customer handles all the stuff on the other side. Very clean. We understand this. Largely, this is the way we still work. IP destroys that, completely destroys it. The reason is, when I'm in an IP environment for any service, doesn't matter what it is, that thing isn't going to work very well if I don't manage it. I've got to manage down to the actual end user device, television set, PC, or mobile device of some kind. You just have to do this. And if you talk to people who are in even VoIP, just delivering telephony services using IP to a desktop, if they were comfortable before with saying, I'm going to hand off this pigtail to you, Mr. Customer, take it, plug it in, it's yours. You can't sell that way because people are going to call you service provider when something breaks. And trust me, things are going to break, right? So this traditional firewall that we've had, and it's a business firewall, between VARs on the one side and service providers on the other, that's going away. The people who are actually going to win in the new environment, because all services are going to be IP-based, are people who have either internal capabilities to run desktops or relationships with people who do that. Right? Again, it's very essential going forward that you get rid of this idea that there's a network termination point and we hand off the traffic and we're done. Right? You got to live on the desktop. You got to live on the mobile. If you're doing IPTV, it's on demand. You've got to hit a router. The router's then got to use some mechanism to get to the TV because people are going to watch on the TV. You've got to manage down to the TV set level, even in the consumer market. Obvious implication. Most of you are saying it is too expensive, it is too time-consuming, our culture doesn't allow us to be a VAR. So what you need to do, partner with somebody who does that. Right? You don't have to do it all yourself. You just have to make sure the function is covered. Okay, I'm going to take a momentary pause here. Questions about this? Hopefully this makes sense to you because this is just the way things are. Right? No question. One of the really important things that all of us are working on, and it's going to be a regulatory battle, is how is it possible for a telco to have more than one revenue stream? Now, what I mean by that is our revenue model today is we get a customer who needs a service, voice, video, data, whatever it is. We decide to charge them so many dollars per month and they pay us. That's the way we make our money. Media, which is the other business I've been in for 25 years, doesn't operate that way. It is very common in the media business to have a two-sided business model, which inherently is better, right? Two revenue streams is always better than one. And the one stream they've got is subscriptions. If you're a cable TV subscriber, you pay a monthly fee. Great business model. We all understand that. The other thing that they do is they add payments directly from programmers who want to be carried. In other words, cable TV network is shelf space. I'm a retailer. I need shelf space. If I'm a network that doesn't have much viewership, if I'm a 1% viewership kind of programmer, I need to get on your network and you won't let me unless there's something in it for you. And you can't sell advertising with a network that has very light viewership. So what do? You charge the programmer money to be on the shelf. Two-sided revenue streams. This is the way the cable industry works. it's always worked that way. It's a great model. Somehow we've got to figure out a way to do that in the telco business. People are going to yell and scream, including everybody who runs an over-the-top service.